John Ramirez, former CIA officer, has just said that reptilians created the Atlanteans and that the Atlanteans still may be exercising control over humanity. This is crazy. This is wild. I love it. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. And please share this video on social media. That would be very helpful. Please consider becoming a channel member to support Cosmic Road and keep Cosmic Road going. Or simply leave a tip in the tip jar with the super thanks feature below, or contribute through PayPal, buy one of my books, and most importantly, comment as I'm going through the story. All right, so let's get into it. I've been really interested in what John Ramirez has been saying lately. He's dropped some juicy bombs, and this is maybe the juiciest bomb. The idea that reptilians created the Atlanteans, and they were a hybrid race of some sort. And all humans are a hybrid race, according to John. And he's talked before about how we have alien DNA, or they have human DNA. And so this is a theme that he is expounding upon. And in that case, I don't know if that was the reptilians he was talking about, but here he is specifically talking about the reptilians. Are these the same reptilians that live underground and that were interacting with the noble families of England or Europe, according to the Vatican documents? And I don't know if those were actually reptilians. I don't know if we know what race those were. You know, those underground beings are often thought to be reptilians, but that could just be our association with reptiles. At any rate, I will play you a segment of John Ramirez, his interview. I apologize that in this video, his face is cut off, basically. It was very, very tiny in the original video, in my screen capturing software cut his face off. Sorry, John, with all due respect. But here is John, slightly disembodied, talking about reptilians and Atlanteans.
I promise you, I know we went long, but we're almost done. This is called informed speculation. I think it's hidden history, but let's call it informed speculation. And I'll clue you in on why it's informed. So a lot of these inter-roll launch mission patches, launch logos, tend to depict reptilians and occult figures having some kind of dominance over the earth. It's very unusual that they would show that. So I speculated based on other things that I've learned. Now leave it at that. That were reptilian beings able to manipulate primate DNA to accelerate human hybrids? Did that happen? And were some of those human hybrids people that in myth and legend we call Atlanteans? In fact, aren't we all human hybrids? After all, let us make man in our image, says Genesis. Why aren't we like apes? Why aren't we like the bonobo, the gorilla, the chimpanzee? That's matter for speculation. But did they do this? And are the accelerated ones really the Atlanteans? Did they ordain this idea of kingship and priesthood through selected hybrid families? And were they able to establish aristocratic bloodlines? Bloodlines and aristocracy are so important back in ancient times. And hybrid families. Power and wealth. Did they establish that? And even today, are they exercising some kind of political power, economic control off the stage, or hidden social influence? And I'm just leaving that as it is. I'm just saying that it's informed because I wrote to CIA and said, here's why I know this. And CIA came back and said, well, we look forward to your presentation when you do this on these two slides. And I have a serial number for that particular submission, so I can refer to it when I do these 2 slides and expand it into a future presentation. Personally, I believe this is one of the core secrets. That's my personal opinion. Let's look at some of the logos, and I'll go through them real fast.
Isn't that fascinating? So we've got John Ramirez saying the reptilians created the Atlanteans, who are a hybrid race. The humans are hybrids, but the Atlanteans in particular are what he calls accelerated humans or accelerated hybrids. And they are still around and exercising some sort of control over humanity and some sort of shadow government. And he goes on further to expound on this theme, talking about the various logos in NASA and other programs featuring reptiles. And he thinks that is a hidden symbol, or there is a hidden meaning behind that. Where I guess the Atlanteans are paying homage to their overlords or whatever. So, I have never heard this particular take on Atlantis before, that they were created by the Reptilians. Is that a John Icke, or a David Icke thing? I don't know. I haven't really studied David Icke. So if you know where this theory is coming from, please let me know in the comments below. Is this John's own theory? He talks about having access to knowledge and information, and he hints at sources. Is this coming from a source? Is this a real source? Or maybe is this a disinformation source? Possibly feeding him fake info? I don't know, but this story was too juicy not to share with you. I love all things Atlantis. And, the reptilians, I've been fascinated by snake men and reptile men since before I got into UFOs. I love the Robert E. Howard story, The Shadow Kingdom, about King Cole fighting the serpent people. And there's various others as well. And, I think it's just a fun idea and a fun subject. Now, I say that's fun in a story, in a sword and sorcery fantasy story. I would not necessarily want to meet a snake person, especially not the reptile people of Robert E. Howard, which were not very friendly. Are the beings that John Ramirez referred to more friendly? Are they well disposed toward humanity? Well, according to John, they made humans, so you would hope so. And if they created the Atlanteans, why then did they allow Atlantis to be destroyed? Did they go against the teachings of the reptiles, and so the reptiles wiped them out? But they kept alive some vestige of Atlantis, and those survivors are still in positions of power today. I have no clue, guys. This is a new one on me. Does this have any connection with the subterranean beings that are in that Vatican document where the beings were interacting with the wealthy and elite families of Europe hundreds and hundreds of years ago? Personally, I think this story is a little out there, and I don't pay too much credence to it, but you have to entertain all ideas. I mean, the truth, from what I've seen and experienced, is pretty weird, and mostly in a very good way. So, I mean, there is negative stuff out there, but most of my experiences, almost all of them, have been very good. So I'm positively disposed toward the phenomenon and the greater phenomenon. I use the phrase the greater phenomenon to refer to all the various phenomena wrapped up in one package. The metaphysical, the alien, the Bigfoot, past lives, all of it I think of as either the phenomenon or the greater phenomenon. Some people, when they think of the phenomenon, they're specifically referring to the U.F.O. phenomenon. But whether John Ramirez is correct or not, there is a large body of evidence to support the existence of the reptilians. They do seem to be real. I think that is, if you research alien abductions, In other modes of contact as well, you will come across the reptilians. They are there. They seem to be real. There are different schools of thought on them, and there may be there do seem to be different types of reptilians. There are the according to the David Jacobs book, Walking Among Us, or is it They Walk Among Us? I forget. There are the reptilians that work with the Greys, and there is other. But they are basically just Greys. They don't act any differently than the Greys do. They're not, powerful or malevolent or whatever is associated typically with reptilians. And my guess on that is to be found in the book The Voyagers, The Sleeping Abductees by Ashiana Dean, where she talks about how the Greys have genetically engineered themselves into many different species or subspecies of Grey. One of those species is a reptilian. And that is probably what the contactees and abductees that David Jacobs hypnotized were seeing, because he was disputing the idea that the reptilians were these malevolent, powerful, or whatever beings that other people were experiencing. And that again goes to the silos of information problem, where we're having a lot of information coming from David Jacobs and Bud Hopkins, but we're having competing information coming from Barbara Lamb and Dolores Cannon. And in this case, as well as many others who have seen and experienced the reptilians, as most people know them or think of them, the Dracos, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, I don't want to go too far into the reptilians at this point, but that could be an explanation for why the David Jacobs reptilians are essentially Greys, is because they are Greys. But that is not to be confused necessarily with the Dracos, or whatever you want to call them, which is the more powerful, individualized reptilians that most people think of when they talk about the reptilians. Does this have anything to do with Atlantis? Like I say, guys, nothing is off the table. At least for me. Your mileage may vary. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And please, if you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below, and there's 2 tiers of membership to receive exclusive access in videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road.